it out front. Pulsating and puzzling, turn my brain into egg foo young. I struck a vein, I'm suffering. My mockingbird can't sing the same songs. My body cracks, knees buckling. I got a bad case of brain fog. Said I got a bad case of brain fog. So I'ma take my butt home. So I'ma take my butt home. I need my soul. Rearranged. I said I'm sold. I need a
Hello and welcome, everybody. Please join me in welcoming my friend and yours, KFARR. How are you doing?
Oh, hey. I'm absolutely terrific.
Awesome. I'm so glad we were able to get this episode in. I think we talked about this like a month ago because I didn't know about this case and you did. And I thought you would have because when I started learning about it, I'm like, I bet KFARR knows about this one. So I
1000%.
messaged you. Yeah, and you're like, heck yeah, I'll do that. So we're going to be talking today about Charities Allen, who was a sovereign citizen. But first, I want to say hi to a couple of people in the chat. Hello to Erica. Very good to have you here. I see there's already a super chat. So Zena, we'll get a treat before we get into the script, right? Linda, good to see you. Yo mama. Always good to have you here. Ron's here. Parson. 1122. Very good to have you. And Christo, it's always a pleasure. Let me give Zena's here. I'll wake her up for this and then we'll get into it. Hey, Zena, guess what? And because this is an overruled episode, anybody who's new here, when I get anybody supports the show, Zena, my co-host here, gets a milk bone. But because it's an overruled episode, we don't stop the show in the middle. We're going to take a break about halfway through and then again at the end, and we'll read super chats and we'll do it like that. So before we start, we have the little mini milk bones for the Zena. By the way, thank you very much to the person who sent me all these boxes of milk bones back here in my P.O. box. You can find my P.O. box in the description if you want to send me anything. Please don't send any more milk bones. We have like a year's supply right now. Here you go. Do a shake. There she is. All right. Zena's settled. We're all good. So Charities Allen. So you learned about this right when it happened. It was a little over a year ago, right?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys are the people that came here for me. Your subscribers might not know, but
yeah.
Van Balian put it out at like the butt crack of dawn, like the day it happened or the day the Bodycam came out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is he putting out this video? And then it was like, oh, he's a sovereign citizen. And I'm just like,
yeah,
that makes sense.
He's like indoctrinated sovereign citizen. We'll get into that, but he was born into this life and it did not end well for him, as we'll see. So Chase was a 25-year-old. He lived with his parents in Farmington, Utah, and he graduated from Utah State University. Now, in the statement from his family after the incident happened, they say that he studied the law, but it is very unclear if he studied the law in college. I don't think he did.
No, most sovereign citizens study the law. But it's I watched a few YouTube videos and now I'm a law scholar.
I think he's a law scholar in the same vein that Chili is a law scholar.
Rumor has it he's going to start a board game as well, or was going to.
Yeah, exactly. I'm totally going to buy that game, by the way. If you guys don't know, Chili's putting out Chili De Castro, who I've covered on Crime Land before, but not on this show. But he's putting out a board game, and I'm hoping it's something that has like questions where I could turn my game night into it.
Yeah, Constitutional Law Scholar, the board game. I'm going to buy the game that goes with it, the Constitutional Law Scholar drinking game. That's the one I'm gonna
You
buy.
will
That's the one I'm
die
most
of
looking out
alcohol poisoning.
for. Yeah, it's on my Amazon wish list.
I'll just make sure I have a Sharpie ready so I can correct his mistakes. Okay.
If it's anything like his trifold, it's going to be absolutely hilarious.
Just full of errors.
Yeah, I wonder if this one's going to be indestructible as well.
Probably. So let's go to Farmington, Utah. You guys know how I like my maps. So we're just north of Salt Lake City up here. And if you guys remember, we did a case in Ogden, Utah, where that guy shot that homeless guy. So that's in between Ogden and Salt Lake City. We're in Farmington. And Chase Allen was living his life, driving down the road, being a sovereign citizen. And he starts to get pulled over by the police. The police start following him, and he's driving a blue BMW 3 Series in Farmington, and the police officer was behind him for a few blocks and then initiated the stop, and he just kept rolling for a couple of blocks after the lights got turned on. And we're going to watch the video as soon as I go through this description. And KFARR, stop me if you want to add anything.
Well, I don't know exactly. I don't think you're going to cover it, but most sovereign citizens are like, oh, you illegally pulled me over, yada, yada. In this case, they had a completely legitimate reason to pull him over.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that he had no license plate, or, he had a fake license plate on his car. There was no license plate on
And
his
it was
car.
like, it wasn't just the private or traveling license plate. It was like written in hieroglyphics or something.
Let me, I'll pull up. I looked at a picture of his license plate yesterday. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, I've never seen one look like that before. And I've seen a lot of sovereign citizen license plates.
Well, I found the website it came from, and they don't sell them anymore, but they were also apparently selling like identification cards that they also do not sell anymore. So I'm assuming after this happened, they got in trouble for that.
Yeah, we toasted a guy who ended up taking down his channel, or he ran out of money to keep it up. He was a sovereign citizen living in like a shack in the middle of the woods, selling, below par dash cams with overpriced memory cards, fake IDs, fake license plates. And he's just like, but they're not real, so don't use them like that. Wink, wink. And it's like, you're going to get people messed up. And then sure as shit, this happened.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on. This website where I pulled it up from wants me to disable my ad blocker.
That's not going to happen.
All right. Share this tab instead. So you can see here, this is the license plate he had on his car. It's like the sovereign citizen flag, which I did not know was a thing until yesterday. And then like, it looks like the presidential seal here as well. So whatever that is, it's not a license plate. It's a piece of cardboard or something. Probably.
1000%.
Yeah. It's a piece of plastic paper that he attached to the back. So completely legitimate stop, by the way. That's the point of it. So he was going down Main Street in Farmington, and he ended up pulling into the post office parking lot, right? And he acted
in
like
itself is hilarious to me.
Yeah, just going to check if they had a poster 7.
Well, just from the people that I cover, once I heard, oh, he pulled into a post office, I'm just like, of course he did. He had to have pulled into a post office.
He knew right where it was, so
he was trying to get poster 7.
Yeah, that's exactly. Exactly. It was State Street. Sorry, it wasn't Main Street. I was mistaken. My bad. Here we go. So he was driving eastbound on State Street, and we will watch the video in a second, but it looks like he makes a left-hand turn, but that is actually him staying on State Street, and he pulls into this post office right here. So we'll go right down into where it happened. So this is the post office building, and this is the parking lot, I think. Yeah. And it really looked like he's like from the angle of it, I think he's parked actually over here in front of this dance studio. But since Google Maps has done their drive-by or whatever, this post office has gotten bigger and this parking lot that's right in front is no longer there. So he's uncooperative. He acts like he's not even getting pulled over. He looks surprised that the cop is at his window when it happens. And he only rolls down his window a itty bitty bit, like about this much. And the officer asks him, "Hey, roll down your window more, dude." And he's like, "No, I don't have to," or whatever he says. The cop asked him to identify himself. He refuses to identify himself. And when the cop says, "Will you please identify yourself or give me your driver's license?" He said, "I don't answer questions." That wasn't a question. And give me your driver's license. It's not a question, first of all. The officer informs Chase that he's being detained, and immediately once the cop says that, he calls in for backup, which is great. And I guess Farmington is a pretty quiet town because 4 more officers show up within minutes. The cop goes back and forth with him about getting ID'd. He says Chase ends up saying that he's under duress. He ends up eventually giving him his passport.
Yep.
Which
If
reminded
not a driver's
me,
license.
reminded me that I need to get my passport renewed. But that's another episode.
Mine expired this year.
Mine expired during COVID. We used to travel all the time pre-COVID, and we just don't get out much anymore. So I didn't even realize that it expired. He says a bunch of like sob-sit mumbo jumbo. And he finally hands over the passport. And the funniest line of this whole, if you can find humor in somebody getting shot to death by the police, which I do.
I can. Yeah.
He says, "That's not me." He said, the officer looks at the passport and says, "Oh, Mr. Chase Allen." He said, "That's not me. That's a piece of paper plastic." Like,
yeah.
What? A piece of paper plastic. They ask him to get out of the car. He doesn't. The cop, one of the officers, I don't think it's the original officer. It's all very hectic with the body cam. Yeah, it's very hectic. But I think it's a different officer ends up reaching in and unlocking his door and opening the car door. And almost immediately you hear an officer yell, "Gun, gun, gun." And they start to back away from the car and they all start shooting him. Like all 5 officers started shooting him. There's one, after they yell ceasefire, one more shot goes off. And I think if you watch closely, that officer, that's the only round that he fired because his gun jammed and he had to reload and then got one shot off and then it was over. So that's how fast it happens. The cops pull him out of the car and immediately begin CPR. So we're going to watch the body cam in full right now. And unless do you have anything to add before we pull this up?
I'm just going to give everyone a heads up now. I forgot which YouTuber it was. He's got a few million subscribers. It's like Dr. Grande or something.
I watch him all the time. He's one of my favorites.
I'm going to correct something that he said because in the grand scheme of what he said, it was kind of like a nonsensical comment about that officer that reached in. But I'll make that comment after the video. Okay. Once everybody sees what happens.
By the way, Dr. Grande is a great YouTube channel, and I like him a lot. And I watch because he covers a lot of true crime stuff. But I love his very, very dry sense of humor, and it just cracks me up so much. So definitely check him out. Hey, Dr. Grande, if you ever see this. All right, here we go. And the audio, as most audio, doesn't start right away. Here we go. Oh, some of your people are here, so I should give you guys a heads up, actually. My people know this, but I show the whole video unedited, and I just stay demonetized. So feel free to do a super chat. So if you don't want to see somebody get shot right now, there's not blood or anything in this one, but it's happened on my channel before. I don't usually do trigger warnings because this is a true crime channel, so you know what we're going to be talking about, but I know I have a new audience here right now.
How's it going? Good, how are you? Good, I'm off Farmington Police. Reason for the stop today is there's no registration on your vehicle.
I don't need registration.
Uh-oh, we're
Don't answer
buffering.
questions.
Alrighty. Davis, Fox 21. Can you have a couple more heading my way? Is this back window roll down?
Why do you need to know that?
I just want to make sure that you're the only one in the vehicle. So here's the deal, man. I'm stopping you because there's no registration on your vehicle, and I'm requesting your identification. Okay? You are detained at this time, and you are not free to leave. Are you going to provide me your identification?
I don't answer questions.
Okay, so I'm going to take that as a no, that you're not going to provide me your identification. Is that the route we're going? Or would you like to provide your identification to me, and we can have a conversation, we can discuss the laws that you're breaking, and then we can go from there.
If you want my identification, you will be under duress, and you accept surety and trusteeship over it. Meaning you will be responsible for any debts that you are trying to incur here.
Okay, so I'm not trying to incur any debts or anything. I'm trying to investigate why your vehicle doesn't have any registration.
1692, you are trying to incur a debt and legal action for something
Okay.
that's not allowed.
I tried to look up the number of the, like he's rattling off the codes or whatever, and I tried to look them up in Utah code, like their laws, and the numbers that he names doesn't have anything to do with what he's talking about. So I don't know what these numbers are, if they're federal codes or something, but they're not Utah laws.
So in a little bit, he mentions something. I don't know if it's, oh God, I want to say 18 USC 241 and 242 is normally like the sovereign citizen go-to, which is deprivation of rights and yada yada, which don't apply at all, but they try to quote it.
Yeah.
I think he tries to quote something similar number-wise to that, and it's like, oh, we can travel, and it's just like,
Well, I
tons like
noticed
that.
also a lot of times, just from watching your channel, a lot of times people who have this mindset will rattle off numbers of laws to try to sound smart, but they don't have the numbers correct.
Yeah,
like they
won't have
say the wrong
numbers
ones.
correct, or they'll try to quote a Supreme Court case that doesn't exist.
Yeah, or a case from another state, like a
Yeah, and it's
like
just
a
like-
they'll cite a Texas law when they're in Oklahoma or something, or
Oh, man,
Michigan.
what's the frauditors do that too?
Yeah.
It's a California law about shining a flashlight into your camera, but it's like, dude, you're in Rhode Island. That has no bearing here.
Yeah, I heard Chili quote one when he was in Las Vegas, I believe, and or maybe California. Either way, he was not in, I want to say it was from Alabama or Mississippi, and it was like a Mississippi state law that he was quoting. I'm like, what does that have to do with this? Nothing at all. All right, back to the video, guys.
Okay.
And under
So,
Title 18, Section
here's-
245,
here's the-
traveling is a federally protected activity. in which
I understand what you're saying.
involved in.
I understand what you're saying, and what I'm telling you is that you do not have an option to identify yourself.
I do.
You are lawfully required to identify yourself, so you can provide your identification to me, and we can have a conversation about the laws that you've broken, or you can fail to identify it to me, and we can go that route too. I'm perfectly okay with either way you want to go, but the direction that this encounter goes is 100% in your hands.
Sir, Utah Code, United States Code,
Okay.
is a corporate policy
Okay.
in which you have to be contracted in to be required to follow it. Unless you
Okay.
can provide me a contract with my wet ink signature on it saying that I'm required to follow it,
Okay?
then there is
So do you
nothing
want
I'm
to
obligated
identify yourself to me, or do you want to go a different route? Wonderful. Do you have a driver license as well?
I am not giving you jurisdiction.
Okay.
Do not
Hit.
stop. Do not detain. You are not allowed to stop me.
Let me see that.
On your list
I
saying that
didn't
you're
see what you
allowed
just
to-
tried to show me. Can you show that to me again? What's this?
This is a passport. It says, do not stare, do not detain. And if you go on the first page,
Okay.
it says, the United States hereby requests all who may it concern
Okay.
to permit the citizens
Here's what I'm telling you.
of the United States named herein
Here's what I'm telling you.
without delay or hindrance.
Okay.
You are
Will you hand that to me so I can read it? You want me to look at it through this tiny crack in your
I am not
window?
handing it to you.
You're not going to hand it to me?
If I hand this to you, you accept trusteeship and surety, and you're obligated.
Sure, I'll accept trustingship if you just hand me the document so I can identify who you are, because you're required by state law.
I am not
Thank you,
required-
sir.
You guys can see another police officer has already shown up. The officer made the call for backup as soon as he refused to identify himself the first time. So it's been like a minute and a half. There's more cops there, which is great. Response time.
Anytime you say anything sovereign citizen or sovereign citizen adjacent, most police departments are just like, yeah, this dude's crazy, and then they kind of try to hustle up on getting there.
Yeah.
Good I don't know. Oh God. Good example was the case that I literally covered today, where
Oh yeah.
she saw something, called for backup, and then 6 officers ended up being on scene, thankfully.
Yes, absolutely.
So much, Mr. Chase Allen.
That is not me. That is a piece of plastic paper.
So you have a fraudulent passport?
No. that is a
Wonderful.
piece of paper.
That's what I'm hearing. Okay, step out of the car.
You know what? I'm going to pause right there. I know I'm a bootlicker, right? But that cop is actually being a little facetious. He knows what Chase Allen is saying. He knows, in my opinion, he hasn't said this or anything. This is my opinion, but this cop is aggravated at this guy right now. And it's not the best police work I've seen.
No,
personally.
he's trying to take his argument to the most ridiculous thing he can say to
Yeah.
try to be like, hey, what you're saying makes you look dumb.
Yeah.
Can you please just not? But the kid's just, this kid's probably been indoctrinated into this shit since he was 5 years old.
Well, he was, yeah.
And
we'll get
that's
to
all
that.
he knows.
Yeah.
And he's never going to, well, I guess, now he's definitely not going to.
Yeah. But I do want to point out bad policing when I see it. And this could have gone a different way. But I also can understand the cops' frustration with dealing with it. It's like he's just throwing mumbo jumbo at him, and just it's a registration issue. He would have got a ticket and been on his way. That's how easy it would have been, So that's it.
Sir, step out of the vehicle
No.
right now.
I am not required to.
Step
If
out of
you
this
try and
vehicle
force
right
me,
now.
Then we're going to have an issue where you're
Step
gonna
out of
have
the
to
car
come
right
to
now.
me.
Step out of the car. We're gonna break the window and pull you out. Step out of the car.
Gun. Cease fire!
Fox 20, we got shots fired. Shots fired.
Sarge, step back.
Sarge, step back.
Sarge is not listening.
Fox 20, where's the police officer? We have shots fired. We got suspect down. Send us more. Show us your fucking hands.
Show us your hands. Don't move.
Fucking hands. Here, I'm gonna go. Keep him on gun. Keep him on gun.
Okay, I'm coming up. Close in here.
And I do like the fact that in almost every one of these cases, I went down a rabbit hole of police shootings last night at like midnight, by the way. But in almost every one of these cases, they immediately start life-saving efforts and call in paramedics immediately. So, and that's what happens in this case too. They get him in cuffs because he did just pull a gun on them. And we'll see that. What we see in the aftermath is he's got a holster on his hip that's empty, and the pistol is on the floorboard of the car. So he did pull it out, and which is why this happened.
Is everybody good?
Yeah, has anybody get hit?
Did he shoot?
I don't have any fucking idea. My fucking gun jammed, so I had to drop my mag.
Everybody else good? Your mag's scared.
Yeah, that's mine, because it's fucking jammed.
Good?
All right.
Everybody good?
Yeah, I'm just gonna make
And you can hear more officers arriving already.
Somebody grab their IFAC real quick.
So did you notice how he wasn't blurred out, and then out of nowhere he was blurred out?
It's because he started bleeding out.
It's like that's the moment that they saw him leave.
Yeah. Well, and you can see that the red around him is starting to grow. So that's pretty much it. They call in the paramedics. I did watch the whole thing just to see. Sometimes it's interesting, like what the
The
cop did
aftermath.
afterwards. And the only thing that I did find interesting is the original cop. Actually, I think he's about to do it right here. He asked if he can turn his body cam off, and they're like, "No, leave it on."
Yeah. Am I going to turn this off? Leave it on for now?
So the end of this video, he just goes and calls his wife, and then that's it. So that's the that's the video. It's intense. It's short, but definitely intense. So during that traffic stop, the or Chase Allen says a bunch of mumbo jumbo, and you are the mumbo jumbo expert. So I'm wondering what some of this stuff means, KFARR.
So I see a lot more of it in court, the trusteeship, if you will.
Yeah,
A few people pull it on the side of the road. Most pull it in court after the fact. They are trying to claim that their vehicle or their person, because they're, a corporate fiction.
Yeah.
They're part of a trust. And in most times that trust exists nowhere but in their mind. And they're trying to come up with, well, if I make you the trustee of my trust, and like I said, in court, they try to make the judge and the prosecutor trustees. So basically they can't do anything to the trust.
We
and
saw
most
a
judges
lot
are
of
just like,
we saw a lot
pass.
of this in the Darrell Brooks trial.
yes.
All of this stuff, which is where I think that's where I first learned about sovereign citizen, which is how I found all this whole sovereign citizen community.
Yeah,
Because
it kind of went mainstream after that, just because
Yeah.
so many people, even random gaming streamers, were streaming the Darrell Brooks case instead of random video games.
Yeah.
So it kind of went a little more mainstream after that. But yeah, wow, there's just so much to cover. The passport thing, they take something that the passport says and thinks that means they're on some sort of do not stop, do not detain list. From working in a police department, I can tell you no list like that exists.
Yeah.
There's not a list that says Chase Allen, do not detain special person. That doesn't exist.
So my question is, one of the things he says is something about owing money or something about money. Like if you take trusteeship, any fees that are incurred, or what the heck is all that about?
He's trying to say that because he's now the trustee of that corporate fiction or the trustee of that trust, if anything, let's say ticket wise, you now have to pay it. And then some of them go into that also includes the fee schedule. I'm assuming you know what that is. Where it's like, every 10 minutes, you owe me $200,000. And it's just like, that's not how any of this works.
I'm wondering why they think that it's not, or they don't have to get a driver's license for whatever state they happen to live in, but it's okay to get a passport. You trust the feds more than your local government, really?
It just kills me because the Supreme Court has literally ruled it didn't say you need a driver's license. It says the state can require you to have a driver's license.
To use our roads.
And to my knowledge, all 50 states have that requirement.
Absolutely. Yeah. And some states you can get, if you're traveling here from another country, your driver's license from there will be valid. Some not, I'm not sure about all those laws, but it almost seems to me like he thinks because he has a passport, he can drive. You might be able to use your passport to drive in Canada or something. I'm not sure what their rules are. Or if you go to when I traveled to Europe, I used my Illinois at the time driver's license to drive in England, but you have to, I
was going to talk about that too. He brought up, they said that we have a right to travel. Well, I think it was in 1999. I talk about this case a ton in my videos. It's Sinise versus Roe. I'm probably butchering that.
Yeah.
But they basically came out and said, yes, the right to travel means this. And it's the right to enter one state and leave another, the right to be treated as a welcome visitor rather than a hostile stranger. Yeah. And for those wanting to become permanent residents, the right to be treated equally to native-born citizens. And they are like, yeah, that means we can drive. And it's just like, where did you get that from those 3 points?
I don't know. Well, most of the stuff that Chase said right before he went to heaven, maybe I'm not sure where he went, but that's not for me to say. But right before he died, he was saying a lot of things that was just. It seemed like they were just words strung together to confuse somebody.
It's a lot of word salad with no dressing, if we're being honest.
Yeah, and I imagine if you're a rookie officer who's never come across something like this before, it might throw you for a loop. Like, well, maybe this guy has a point. Maybe nowadays I think it's more mainstream, but you know, back 10 years ago, if somebody hit me with all that, I'd be like, oh, maybe this guy's a lawyer or something, because I wouldn't know any better, because I'm kind of
And
dumb.
then, like you said earlier, most of the time, everything that they're saying either is completely irrelevant to the situation or doesn't even exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I wanted to talk about for the Dr. Grande part, he was the officer that went in before the shooting took place. He was trying to say that he didn't think it through, like, what was the officer going to do? And it's like, well, he was there to unbuckle the seatbelt and pull him out of the vehicle. Turns out, if you open the door and just stand there and say, hey, bro, can you get out? Hey, bro, can you get out? Most times they just don't get out without some encouragement.
Yeah.
And that's just what I want to talk about, because he was trying to, like, come at the officer about there not being a point for him being there. And it's like, if he didn't go in, he wouldn't have gotten out of the car.
Yeah, and he could have used his car to run off. Like, I've seen it before where people will use their car as a weapon. Your car is a deadly weapon. So, they and it was still in drive. You heard it revving when he got shot. So it was still, or it wasn't, it was still on. His car was still on, so he could have threw it in gear at any time and just started, GTAing out of there. Who knows what would have happened? So afterwards, there was a few days in between where this happened and the video came out, which I want to talk about, because of course, initially the public is like, can you believe this poor, sweet, innocent child? They're putting pictures on the news up of him, like, and
I wanted to talk to you about this because I think we talked about this the last time I was on panel with you, where they find the most innocent third grade school picture and look at this saint that was just taken so early. Yeah. And it's like, but you're not showing when he pulled a gun on a cop and got smoked for it. Like,
exactly. And we'll find out later on that he's got a history of this. He had a warrant at some point. He has this disruption in a courtroom that we're going to go into. But yeah, this is right when it happened. This is the area.
Shots, I think there were likely more, but they were happening so quickly.
Farmington community members are reacting tonight after shots were fired during an officer-involved shooting yesterday. A traffic stop in Farmington turned deadly after police shot and killed a 25-year-old man who they say failed to comply with officers.
Now, this happened just before 3:30 in the afternoon when police say Chase Allen was pulled over in front of the post office and refused to get out of his car. An officer then called for backup, and then police say shots were fired while trying to get Allen out of the vehicle.
Darby Sparks went to the scene today to find more information. And Darby, neighbors say they actually heard the shots.
Yeah, that's right. This post office actually sits next to multiple homes and apartments. And I spoke with one person who lives nearby, and she said that it sounded like a box dropping. Meanwhile, another neighbor said she knew exactly what it was: gunfire.
I've heard gunshots before, and I immediately said, there's gunshots outside my window.
A woman close to the scene said she heard multiple shots ring out simultaneously.
I counted 8 distinct shots. I think there were likely more, but they were happening so quickly.
She told me she could tell more than one person was firing.
I just knew they were too close together for it to be one person doing all those shots. I heard one of the officers say, we've got 5 shooters.
But by the time she went to investigate the sound, it was over.
By then, within a minute, the fire truck was there with the medical team.
Is this a very strange occurrence?
Oh, absolutely.
People who live here say it's a quiet and peaceful neighborhood, so yesterday's heavy police presence alerted everyone nearby.
I just know there was a lot of chaos.
One man on the way to pick his kids up from school says he saw the scene right before and after the shooting, and it all happened in a flash.
I saw nothing until I came back, which was literally about 5 minutes later, and then the entire block was shut down.
It happened really quick.
Oh, yeah.
Farmington police say that
normally it takes a hot second for a traffic stop to like escalate to that type of, nonsense.
Yeah.
I'm going to call them a more sovereign citizen and more are like that much different.
Yeah.
But the case that I covered, it seems like they initiated it, had enough sense to like, well, not sense, but had enough time to pull back, call for backup, have 4 more officers show up, reinitiate, have him try to drive off, and then things kind of went south. But this was like 3 minutes.
Almost immediate. Yeah. Almost immediate. It was within 4 minutes. It's like from start to finish. It was very quick. So that before the body cam came out, they had a vigil and a protest. So let's watch that real quick.
Ever losing someone like that,
And I want you to watch when they get to the this is the vigil part, which obviously no matter what he was doing, have, that's fine. Have your prayers and your vigil but the protest part just kills me.
a brother, a son, somebody who meant something for someone.
A vigil and protest today over the deadly police shooting of Chase Allen in Farmington.
People marched from the post office where the deadly shooting happened to the Farmington Police Department. Ariel Harrison is live in Farmington tonight with more. Ariel.
Well, marchers here today insist that Chase Allen did not threaten police. But among other things, police say Allen had a gun in his car.
Here's the thing, the way this news is reporting it, I like to cut the bull crap that the local media and the mainstream media puts out. It wasn't that he had a gun in his car. That's not why he got shot. And that's why these people are protesting, because the media's reporting that, he had a gun in his car. So they shot him 12 times. That's not what happened.
Division cells. We both know this. Like, he had a holster.
He pulled
the firearm was out of the holster and not like next to him. Like, it just fell out. It was out.
Yeah, he pulled it out. He got shot. He dropped it after getting shot. After getting shot.
How many people would have been at this vigil or march if they'd have been like, yes, he was a sovereign citizen
who pulled a gun
on officers, got shot. It is what it is. 3 people would have been there, and they would have all been
his mom,
relatives or something. Yeah, like everybody else would have been like, oh no, that seems like completely justified.
Yeah. Waffle Salter over on Rumble says vigil for criminals seems fine. What I'm saying is, if your loved one dies in any way, like that's fine to have like the mourning and the he wasn't just a sovereign citizen and a guy who pulled a gun on the cops. He was a son and a brother, and he probably had friends and was part of his community. So like I get that part. That's what I'm saying. Anyway,
breaks my heart that a life was lost, and it's shocking that it happened so close to my own neighborhood.
Farmington's Natasha Briggs did not know Chase Allen.
I read the story last week, and it was heartbreaking what happened.
But she was here today for his vigil.
They had offered everyone to write on the balloon and leave it here in memory for him.
This balloon release? Justice for Chase! Justice for
That looks like littering to me.
It does.
Saying.
Followed a protest.
Like the balloon. Can we get away from the balloon release? It's so bad for the environment. It's so bad for the animals. Like, let's stop doing that. Let's just cut that out completely from our lives, please. And this just happened. Like you see that a lot from the old cases that I cover from, the 80s and 90s or before that. But this just happened a year ago. What are we releasing balloons into the environment for? What are we doing here?
My whole thing is like the body cam is right there. Like take 3, like, she didn't know Chase Allen, but she showed up because he was in his neighborhood. It's like, okay, cool. I'm not going to do that. If somebody gets shot in my neighborhood, and I do 3 seconds of investigation, it's like, oh no, he had it coming. Like, F around and find out. Like, he found out real quick. Like, I'm not gonna go waste my time releasing a balloon saying justice for some guy who pulled a gun on a cop. Like, not my thing.
Family and friends of Allen asserted his innocence.
Routine traffic.
Well, and you know what I noticed is that 9 times out of 10, probably 9.5 times out of 10, if somebody gets shot by the cops, once you dig into it, even a smidge, like they did something, like they were either committing suicide by cop, they pulled a gun on the cop in this case, or they ran at the cop with a knife, and they just don't report that immediately. You got to wait a beat
Well,
and figure out what happened.
That's why I kind of I know the old not mayor, the old police chief for Detroit. He
Mhm.
was kind of like the Sheriff Grady Judd of Florida, where if something happened in the city
Mhm.
and the news wanted to run their mouth like this, all reckless, he'd be like, "Oh, here's all 5 body cams that say you're an idiot."
Yeah.
Like 5 minutes after the
Good.
shooting.
Yeah.
And it was just I forgot what it was. It happened where a kid pulled a small firearm, not a kid, he
Mhm.
pulled a gun, shot it at the police officers. Officer fell down, pop, pop, pop. Guy died. And they're like, oh, he didn't have a gun. And then he literally was standing in front of where it happened. It's like, this is the body cam. This is a firearm that he shot at my officers. This is what happened after.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost every time. I can only think of one case where it was like, well, 2. I can think of 2 where I'm like, oh, that was bad. The cops shouldn't have done that. They totally murdered that guy. In both cases, those cops are in prison now. So, like, you know,
Yeah, but it's corruption. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely. I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Should not have resulted in this.
Victoria Dortzbach knew the victim.
He's not the kind of person that I knew that would ever
Really?
point a gun at police officers.
Really?
Ever.
She echoed a theme here that Allen
Facts say
felt
different.
strongly about his individual freedom.
All right. So when I watched this last night, I saw this flag and I'm like, what the heck is that? So once this video is done playing, I'm going to show you the website.
it looks like it almost looks like a half-ass American flag flipped the wrong way.
Yeah.
And shorter.
Yeah, they have a flag now. This is a sovereign citizen flag.
His individual freedoms. Farmington's police chief said when an officer pulled him over, Allen, quote, asserted his independence from the laws of the land, as well as his belief that he was not required to provide information to the officer.
We have the Constitution that protects us, freedom of speech, for understanding our own liberty, and we should be protected.
That woman's just dumb. I don't blame her.
She basically pointed out that she doesn't know about the Constitution without saying she doesn't know about the Constitution.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the website where this flag came from. And you can see they sell it here. It was $42 for the large one that you saw there, but they have the little ones as well. And this is the same website that used to sell the IDs. And
I'm sorry, but people always say, "Oh, it's against the flag, whatever, the thin blue line flag. It's the American flag."
Mhm.
But then they throw this shit out there, and it's just like you guys turned it a different direction. Like,
Yeah.
slowly roll.
Yeah, so this website is just full of all sorts of fun stuff. So you can get your legal documents on here for $10 a piece. So if you're going to court and representing yourself, you can just purchase your
Did that say
documents.
common carry?
I
hope that's not like I signed this document and got it notarized and sent it to this website. Therefore, I can carry a minigun.
Yeah, I think that's all of the yes, that's all of this stuff.
Doesn't make any sense.
Look, you can get married on here. You can buy your marriage paperwork right here.
Of course. Well, if you're getting married to your brother or sister, it doesn't really.
Yeah.
State's not going to count it, so you got to go here.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I searched far and wide for this this flag. It's the United States civil flag used by sovereign citizens. I think you need to get one of those in your background there.
I am going to. If I could find someone that wasn't this website, I might buy one. I mean, I already have a Moorish flag. Why not have?
Yeah.
God, when was it? Wait, scroll back down. Did it give a date? Right.
Okay. Yeah.
2007. That's when they came up with the flag.
That's what it looks like.
Man,
2007.
these people are mad creative.
They made their own flag that looks
Sitting
almost
in their shack. Yeah, sitting in their shack. They're like, well, what if we just turn the American flag?
You know, we'll reverse the colors of the stars and the background. So, real quick, I just want to give a shout out here to Waffle Salter, who this is at my Rumble chat, by the way, $25 on Rumble. I appreciate that very much. We're going to give the doggo a little treat, wake her up, and we're going to do our little ad that we do halfway through, and then we're going to tell you about Diane. Oh, Diane, Give me 1 second. I wasn't ready. I was unprepared. So thank you very much, Waffle Salter. I appreciate your continued support. You're awesome, man. So let's get Zena on here. I almost forgot I have to turn on her camera. I would almost had to give her treats twice. I'm getting it together. There she is. Hi, Zena. This is from Waffle Salter. He loves you very much. There you go. I'm giving her 2 every time now because I have so many stinking milk bones. She's gonna get fat, guys. She definitely gonna get fat. Look at how cute she is. That sweet girl. So if you are a fan of the show and want to support the show, I personally would appreciate it. And you could do that by going to kdz.com. That's kdz.com. You can get all of your Crimeland Overruled True Crime with Xena merchandise. The thing I want to bring to your attention is this Christ is King collection, because right now, everything that's bought from this collection here, all of the proceeds go to onemorechild.org. This is a collaboration between, let's be frank, Stephen Ignoramus and I, where we created this merchandise, and we are giving it every single penny that it makes is going to onemorechild.com, which is a Christ-centered, offers Christ-centered services to vulnerable children and struggling families. And that means trafficked children, which we talk about on this channel from time to time. I do also like the fact that they help out just not single women, which a lot of these websites do, just do single women. They help out actual families who are also struggling, because it's hard times. This inflation is a little crazy. You know what I'm saying? So people need help. So if you don't want a t-shirt and you still want to donate, that's onemorechild.org. And I would appreciate that. Thank you very much, Ron, for the puppy treats. We are going to get her a little more puppy treats, and then we're going to get on with the show. That's the ad. That's the whole ad. Nobody sponsors this but me, so buy a t-shirt, please.
I was going to bring my giant dog that's like 5 feet away from me into my office, but he would mug Pickle and steal her candy, and she's currently napping.
Oh, yeah, don't do that. That's not, no. Nope. Let's see. To the right tab. Here we go. So on with the show. Thank you for sitting through my ad, everybody. I appreciate it. I try not to be too overwhelming with the, just if you want to support and give you ways to do that. So the family of the 25-year-old killed in Farmington, the Farmington officer involved shooting, releases statements.
Like even that picture, like that's not who this happened to.
Yeah, exactly. Like you saw the video. This is not who it happened to. And I actually typed it out in bigger print because I'm old and blind. So, but I will leave it on the screen there too. There we go. Chase Lind Allen, which I've never heard that name before. Linde. I'm assuming it's Lind or Lindy, maybe. I'm not sure. But Chase Allen was a gracious, loving soul who was known by everyone in his community to be caring, thoughtful, and kind, and would do anything for someone in need. He attended school in Davis County at Eagle Bay Elementary School, Farmington Junior High School, and Davis High School. Although he had a shy and quiet demeanor, he was able to make quick friends who cared about Chase deeply and will remember him fondly. Chase graduated from Davis High School in 2016. He played soccer, earning varsity letters at the Real Salt Lake Academy. Chase would then pursue higher education and went on to play soccer at UC Davis and Utah State University. He was 25 years old and had graduated from Utah State University. He was always selflessly helping and protecting others in need. He has been studying law for the last few years and was a patriot, doing what he could to defend people's freedoms and liberty in the community. Like the way it sounds, they put it right after his education, so I really am not sure. I think I think he just watched YouTube videos. I'm pretty sure.
I agree.
All right. I'm trying to scroll. The devastating and tragic death of Chase Allen quite literally hits home as his young life was taken from him on Wednesday, March 1st, 2023, in the parking lot of our local Farmington police or post office. Chase was a son, brother, grandson, nephew, peer, teammate, student, neighbor, amongst other important roles he played within our community. We have learned more from media coverage about what occurred than anywhere else right now. Officers claim it was a routine traffic stop, yet the officer requested multiple other officers on scene a couple of blocks prior to the stop. I'm going to pause right here because we watched the video, and that's not what happened. He did not request backup until Chase started not cooperating. So
yeah, he started spouting some sovereign citizen nonsense, and he clearly stepped back, was just like, hey, can y'all hurry up? I need some backup.
So I'm wondering if the family's making that up, or if that, I didn't find anywhere in their local news where that was reported. But it could have been
making something up. That's par for the course for them. I'm not going to lie.
It is, but it's also par for the course for the media to just put crap out and then figure it out later. So
whatever the person they're interviewing says, that's what they put out. I showed that yesterday where the upstate New York DA was just like, oh, I did this, this, and this. Then you watch the body cam and you're like, well, that's not what happened at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank the Lord for body cams. I tell you what.
It really has improved personally. I mean, I can remember after it was probably just before George Floyd, where people's like all of these departments started getting body cams, where now like basically every cop has a body cam.
I hear all the time that, it proves criminals or it proves innocent people are being just beaten and assaulted by cops. It's just like,
that's not what happened at all when the body cam started.
Sure, you'll catch a cop being bad, but that's few and far between.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so this multiple other officers to the scene blocks prior to the stop. This resulted in the brutal murder of Chase at the hands of 5 Farmington police officers, with them shooting him while he was still in his automobile and likely terrified for his safety. They shot 12 plus rounds. It was way more than 12, I counted, but maybe he was hit 12 times. They shot 12 plus rounds at him while he was still inside the car with the engine running and the lights on when reporters arrived. Police are stonewalling us. Our family has not been permitted to see Chase and has not been contacted by authorities or justice departments with information surrounding this investigation. Chase lived at home with his parents in Farmington. Our family was not notified of Chase's death as next of kin. We found out about Chase's death along with the entirety of our community via news reports and articles written online. I know you were going to read some of that, but I just did.
Reading I have to do the better.
I was on a roll. I didn't want to stop. It's very rare that I can read. So
I forgot which article, like if it was an article or if it was a video I watched on it where, he was sitting in his vehicle still, scared for his safety.
Yeah.
And whatever I was reading or watching was like he switched hands that his camera was in from his right hand to his left hand. The gun was on his right hip, and he pulled the gun on officers. It's just like, it seems like he knew damn well what he was doing.
Exactly. I kind of want to go back.
Wasn't it?
Now that we know all of this, I kind of want to go back and just watch that little part again. But you'll see if we'll do that here in a second. But you'll see what KFARR's talking about is he's filming. The cops are here at his window, and he's filming, I guess, like this with his right hand. And right as the cop comes in and opens the door, he switches the phone to this hand and reaches down. And some people online are saying, he was reaching to unbuckle his seatbelt. But then if he was reaching to unbuckle his seatbelt, why was his seatbelt not unbuckled? And why was the gun that was on that side out of the holster? It doesn't make any sense if that's what he was doing. It just really doesn't. So yeah, let me find that. Let me go back to that video just to watch that little part again. There we go. I'm going to get to the part where the other officers are on scene. I think we're about here. So yeah, this whole thing is only 9 minutes long, and you can see the first 3. He's just is the following him and pulling him over, and the actual incident is just seconds.
Yeah, by the 5-minute mark, it's over.
Yeah.
What's this?
This is a passport. It says, do not stay at, do not detain. And if you go on the first page,
Okay.
it says, the United States hereby requests all who may it concern
Okay.
to permit the citizens
Here's what I'm telling you.
United States named herein
Here's what I'm telling you.
without delay or hindrance.
Okay,
You are
will you hand that to me so I can read it? You want me to look at it through this tiny crack in your window?
handing it to you.
You're not going to hand it to me?
If I hand this to you, you accept trusteeship and surety, and you are obligated.
Sure, I'll accept trustingship if you just hand me the document so I can identify who you are because you're required by state law. Thank you so much, Mr. Chase Allen.
That is not me. That is a piece of plastic paper.
So you have a fraudulent passport?
No. that is a
Wonderful.
piece of paper.
That's what I'm hearing. Okay, step out of the car for me.
No.
Sir, step out of the vehicle
No.
right now.
I am not required to.
Step
If
out
you
of this
try and
vehicle
force
right
me,
now.
Then we're going to have an issue where
Step out of the car right now.
Step out of the car. We're going to break the window and pull you
So you could see right there, it was in his right hand.
Yeah, and that person was not the person in the photo.
Yeah. Okay, that's enough of that. We already watched that part. That's the scary part, guys. So would you like to talk about Diane? Diane.
Absolutely. The cause of this entire thing, in my opinion.
Yeah. Diane is Chase's mom. And she too was a sovereign citizen. And man, I think that he may have gone down this road on his own, but she definitely didn't help. And I think that indoctrinating your children into any sort of lifestyle like this is just horrible. I can remember a case out of Texas years ago where it was a similar sort of thing where and I don't know if it was a sovereign citizen, but it was a woman who was definitely against the police, and they were knocking down her apartment door, and she was telling her kid
Yes, I remember that.
shoot.
Yeah.
And it just broke my heart. She's going to get her kid killed. And Diane did get her kid killed.
Yeah, it's the same thing with this. Then this was a sovereign citizen where I believe it was a father and son in a car.
Yeah, I remember that one too.
Officers came up, and
it was like a McDonald's
the son-
parking lot.
yeah,
Or
the son jumped out and just sprayed him down.
Mhm.
And it's just like,
You're supposed to protect your children, people. Protect your children. What are you doing? Ugh. All right, let's watch a little bit about Diane.
And at some point, you know, those officers made a decision that Chase was going to get out of the car.
Two separate traffic stops with entirely different outcomes. On our left here, body camera of a traffic stop from just about a year ago.
And the second monitor shows body camera footage from the deadly police shooting in Farmington. We've reported extensively on the case of Chase Allen. He is the Farmington man shot and killed by police during a traffic stop.
And police are saying that he did not have
I also want to point out this news coverage. It goes into, it's only a couple of minutes long, but it goes into like, oh, this is how it could have turned out. Look at how smoothly this stop went. Yeah, this cop did not do his job at all when he encountered this lady, in my opinion. So
this is my problem with the news coverage in general. They have two people that have no I'm gonna
idea.
swear. I feel like if you showed a shooting, I can swear. They have people talking about this who have no fucking clue what they're talking about.
Exactly.
It's like bring up somebody with some experience in something, or
Mhm.
like do this much research. Like I feel like you did more research for this random live stream on a Sunday night or Sunday afternoon
I normally do.
than any of these news outlets that you've showed so far.
Yeah, and they have money. They could just hire somebody to do this and put it in front of them, but like make the cue cards or whatever, you know.
Valid registration. Almost a year ago, though, his mother was stopped for nearly the same thing. Ariel Harrison live tonight. And Ariel, how did each situation end so very differently?
Well, I asked a criminal justice expert to watch the body cam footage of both incidents. He said while the
Don't
stops
like her
are
voice.
similar, what this really comes down to is different officers responding to different situations. On the right side of your screen, it's April 2022. A Farmington police officer stops Diane Allen for expired registration.
You have your license and insurance information with you?
On the left, earlier this month, a different Farmington officer stops her son Chase, also for traffic violations.
The reason for the stop today is there's no registration on your vehicle.
I think that with the stop with the mother, the officer is a little confused about what's going on, but he at least recognizes this is what I've got.
Retired Deputy Chief Chris Bertram, now an associate professor of criminal justice, watched the body cam video of both traffic stops.
This citation is going to be for expired registration and then driving without a driver's license in your possession.
With the mother, the officer doesn't really engage in a lot of back and forth. The minute, he's just matter of the fact. I mean, and I will say that with constitutionalists, you need to be matter of fact.
Bertram says the
And why is he calling him a constitutional?
They're not constitutionalists. They're literally domestic terrorists.
Yeah.
This guy, he's a retired deputy chief who's now those two stops could not be further from different. Did the mother pull a gun on the officers?
No.
That could have been a reason of why the stop turned out differently.
Yeah.
It's like one of those people that you hire to be a expert witness for court that sacrifices their morals and integrity simply to get that paycheck. They know what they're saying is absolutely ass backwards, but they're like, I'm getting paid.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's probably exactly what happened is this news, whatever this is, Channel 2 in Salt Lake City needed to get somebody on who knew something more than whatever these ditzy blonde newscaster had.
Yeah, they were looking for somebody with a title, not necessarily that knew what they were talking about, but somebody with a title.
Exactly. And he doesn't know what he's talking about, by the way. They should have called you, honestly. They should have just called you.
There's so many, I hate to say it, but there's so many large YouTubers that literally their entire existence is covering this.
And you know what?
They have the experience of covering this and doing the job.
I've seen that before in crime cases where the news will have on, and I think it was something Gray was covering the Delphi case, just covering the Delphi case. And he knew the ins and outs of the case and all of the evidence, all of that. And they had him on CNN to talk about it. And it was amazing because he knew what he was talking about,
It's like, I don't want to say go get angry cops or go get donut operator, but it's like they make a living covering these things, doing shooting breakdowns. Fucking angry cops is still an active police officer. And it's just like they cover this. They know what they're talking about. They know what sovereign citizens are.
Exactly.
Give them a call. Hey, you want to be on the news? And they'd probably be like, sure.
Yeah. More exposure. Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did the same thing. He also called for backup. Bertram said that was the right thing to do. Situations can change in an instant.
And we're going to have an issue where...
Last Wednesday, officers tried to remove Chase Allen from the vehicle. A very different approach than what we saw in the stop involving his mother.
He didn't even ask her to sign it. He simply just served it on her and he was done and he walked away.
In contrast, we asked Bertram about the moments leading up to that deadly shooting.
There is a statement made. If you try to do that, there's going to be an issue. And that can be taken as, well, I'm going to sue you or I'm going to use, lethal force against you. Those officers decided that they were going to, get him out of the car, potentially seize him and arrest him for the violations that they felt were appropriate at the time.
Do you love it how they're not playing any of the body cam of the mother talking?
Nope.
Anything that the mother did.
But guess who has that?
Yeah, it's like if the mother did anything similar to that, I don't want to call I hate saying, that officer didn't look like he did his job, but it was one officer on the side of the road who seems to just basically throw the rules out for this one woman.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the other officer's like, well, I need your ID. I need this. I need that. Okay, cool. This passport is not your driver's license. I now have your name. Could he have run the name and figured it out? Yeah, probably. But at the time, there was 5 officers there. He could legally ask him to get out. And when he didn't get out, it's just like, okay, cool. We'll pull you out. Nobody's expecting a random kid to pull a gun on an officer because reasons.
Yeah, and I don't think they didn't see the gun. Obviously, they would have done things different if they did, but until they opened the door. So that's the moment. It happened so fast, but that's the moment that the officer reached in to unlock the doors, the moment he pulled the gun out.
Throwing a ticket into a passenger side window is not going to do anything. Like you've seen sovereign citizens where it's like, oh, I've got 5 open warrants from 5 different states because I'm currently running from this.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be proven wrong. And it's like, how is that going to fix the situation and make your city safe? Like if that mom drove off, T-boned a small child with like in the car, killed everyone.
Yeah.
I would 1000% blame the officer for not doing his job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have this courtroom audio. There's no video, which I wish there was a video. There's no video. But before we
What
do
year
that,
did it happen?
This was 2022.
Oh.
So, but it's traffic court, so I could see why. Like, I assume there's not a lot of people
Michigan,
tuning
there would
in.
be a video. If it was in Michigan, there'd be a video.
Yeah, exactly.
We all would have covered it.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw Cerebral Tackle support my channel here, so let me give Xena a treat real quick, and then I'll play this audio. Hey, Xena. Hi. Oh, I knocked over her camera. Here we go. Thank you, Cerebral Tackle. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate all of the supports very much. Mucho gracias. So what happens? I'm just going to give you a little. I'm going to tell you about it first, and then. So that traffic stop that we saw, I couldn't find the raw traffic stop footage, but I did find this courtroom footage when I was looking for that raw traffic stop footage. This is her in court for those 2 tickets that she got thrown through her passenger side window by that cop who really wasn't. He was ill prepared to encounter a stop like that, I believe, and whoever he called, his sergeant or whatever who he called, just didn't want to deal with it at that moment. I think that's the events that happened there, right? So she, in this courtroom video, you'll see that she ends up.
I can't stand Parsons right now. What? T-boned a child. How big is that child? Yeah, the second cop didn't want to handle it. I don't know if it was the paperwork, if he was alone and didn't want to deal with it, if it was near shift change. Like, there could be a million reasons, but again, I don't think that officer necessarily did his job to the best of his ability.
It's also a small town, so I'm wondering if he was calling somebody who was off duty at the time and just didn't want to, was in the middle of something or didn't want to deal with it. And it's like, oh, it's just a traffic ticket.
And
whatever.
one looked like it was like on the highway or like out in the boonies, and the other one was like in the middle of the city at the post office.
Exactly. So I'm going to play a little bit before. So she starts going into the sovereign citizen BS about how there's no jurisdiction and, all of the usual tick marks. And then her son, Chase, who we just saw executed, is in the courtroom and has an outburst at about 6 minutes in. I'm going to start it a couple of minutes before Chase's outburst, and then we'll go from there.
U.S. Code 1746, Section 1. I heard you the first time, and you're overruled.
But by the way, this judge sounds like Winnie the Pooh to me, and I can't get that out of my head.
Now that's all I'm going to be able to see.
Yeah, and there's no video of him, so it might be Winnie the Pooh. We don't know.
That's why there's no video.
In this case, and I'm going to decide if I make a ruling today or I take it under advisement. If I make a ruling today, I'll notify the parties. If I take it under advisement, I'll let you know. Mr. Cole, do you want to make an opening statement in this case? No, Your Honor. Miss Allen, do you want to make an opening statement in this case?
I, Diane Allen, do hereby enter my appearance specially in the above matter for dispositions to equity of parties. Respectfully submit to the state, respecting 28 U.S. Code 1746, Section 1.
I understand. Thank you. Mr. Cole, you can call your first witness. Thank you, Judge. I do have one housekeeping matter. Go ahead. I would ask the court to ask the defendant if she intends to assert a defense under 53-3-217. So a person who is charged with not carrying a license with them, which is what she's charged with in count 1, has an absolute defense to that if she can produce in court a driver license that was valid on the day of the ticket. I'd like to give her an opportunity to assert that defense. Miss Allen, Mr. Cole's making reference to Utah Code 53-3-217 subpart 2, subpart B2. It's a defense to a charge of not having a valid license if you can produce in court a driver's license that had been issued to you that was valid at the time that you were arrested or cited. So Mr. Cole's offering you the chance to exercise an absolute defense to the one charge concerning your driver's license. Do you want to take advantage of that and have that charge dismissed?
I object, Your Honor. What Mr. Cole is saying is hearsay.
Overruled.
I do like when the judges say the name of my show in their proceedings. That's good for me.
You got a shout out.
I should like do a supercut of just different judges saying overruled to like sovereign citizens and like just idiots and representing themselves, because that's usually when it happens. If you don't know, I made up the name of my show during when the Darrell Brooks case was happening, because she said overruled so many times in those proceedings, and I watched the whole trial. I'm like, that's a good name for a show. I'm gonna do that.
I enter my appearance specially in the above matter for disposition to the equity of all the parties.
Overruled. Mr. Cole, apparently overruled. I'm not going to listen to you make an objection 3 times. Mr. Cole, apparently she doesn't want to take advantage of...
And I don't know if you caught that, but there was a voice in the background that said, "You're committing treason." That was Chase Allen.
So can I just address this for a second?
Yeah.
Appearing or being here by special appearance isn't a fucking thing. Just throwing that out there. It's either you're here or you're not. And seeing as how the date on the ticket was that day, you had to be there.
Exactly.
That is no benefit, Your Honor. I am not participating in the trial. I have challenged subject matter jurisdiction.
Subject matter jurisdiction. There we have it.
And I do hereby enter my
Everybody drink.
the above matter for disposition to the equity of parties.
I've heard you 4 times now, Miss Allen. You can keep saying that. I've got a copy of what you submitted. I've heard you 4 times. I'm happy to note your objection for the record.
Absolutely not. I do not consent to any of this. He doesn't consent to this.
Involuntary servitude and treason, he says.
Yeah. So that second voice that you're hearing is Chase Allen, by the way. The second sovereign citizen BS.
So first, I think the judge should have been like, you saw it it's an up north jurisdiction. I'm drawing a blank on the court number. I believe 2 sovereign citizens have come back to back. And both times somebody from the gallery has tried to like yell out, and he's just like, shut the fuck up. You can't talk. You're not part of this. Zip it. I wish
never
Winnie
works.
the Pooh. Yeah, I wish Winnie the Pooh would have been like, sir, can you not?
Well, this judge just has so much patience, and I don't know why both of them were not in custody immediately, like after what happens in this courtroom.
Well,
So-
it seems like she gave paperwork. If it's, like most sovereign citizen packets,
Yeah.
it's not worth, the paper it's written on. But yeah, at what point it's a second time yelling, it's treason. If I go to court and start yelling, it's treason, involuntary servitude, it's treason. Yeah, I'm going to be in jail that day.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is Winnie the Pooh, so what are you going to do?
Yeah, I was about to say, what are you going to do?
Warrant for your arrest. What warrant? What evidence? Provide probable
Violating
cause.
our rights, both of us. This is absolutely unacceptable. Let him go right now. Let him go.
Please don't.
You let him go. Absolutely not. You let him go. He's done nothing wrong.
Please don't.
He's done
What
nothing
warrant?
wrong.
Produce the paper. Stand over
Let
here.
go of me.
Ma'am.
Absolutely not.
Can't
You
have
let
him
go of
interrupting
me.
the court.
You let him go right now. You have no warrant. You have nothing. Let him go. Get off of him. Judge, these proceedings are absolutely improper and inappropriate. Let him go.
Battery and assault! Involuntary servitude under Title 18! DTV!
You're
not going over there right now.
I wish there was a video of this so badly. Like, it just sounds like it's awesome.
Well, it's like, what did she say? There's no probable cause for her being pulled over. Well, when he looked up your fake license plate and the poop emoji came back on his computer, yeah, he pulled you over for that. You didn't have your proper documents. Here you are. It's a ticket. And then, oh, you can't arrest him. You don't have a warrant. Well, he just broke the law directly in front of us.
Mm-hmm. And the
Therefore, we're taking care of it.
The original cause for her to get pulled over was an expired tag or expired registration, just like him. The exact same thing. And I think if this cop and Winnie the Pooh would have handled this better, he might still be alive because they may have learned their lesson. Probably not, but it could have gone better. Maybe he would have calmed down a little bit.
With that, what was it? The retired deputy who was talking about both cases being similar.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly in court, you see that they have two wildly different personalities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
exactly.
So like if you do this much research, that much,
yeah,
makes all the difference in the world.
Yes.
You know what? You have no right.
This is treason.
Absolutely not. This is absolutely improper.
Capital felony treason for those in chat.
Right now, you let him go.
Some officers see out their substance.
Let him go. Right this minute, you let him go. You know that this is improper. You absolutely do know this is improper.
Contempt of court isn't improper.
Yeah.
Let him go right now. There has been no warrant. There's been no crime committed here.
He was yelling out in court. He was, and they did say that he had a warrant for his arrest, and I'm not sure if that was for something else or what. But either way, either he had a warrant and he was yelling out, or he was yelling out. Either way, take him away, get him out of the courtroom.
Conspiracy time here. Conspiracy time.
Okay.
He was carrying that gun because he wanted to do some, like the father, like the father and son duo who were trying to ambush some officers to get their SovSit cred up.
Yep.
He saw his mother have to go to court. He got pulled out for contempt, had to spend some time in jail. He did not like that. So in my head, he was out trying to do something and was just really shitty at it.
It definitely could be because, well, we've seen sovereign citizens and Moors set cops up before, like call them out to a scene just to execute them. We've seen that repeatedly.
That because I don't think Chase Allen is going to be able to sue me for defamation.
Probably not. I'm thinking he's graveyard dead as a judge.
Wow. Using my own video against me.
Inappropriate.
Sorry, I should have done it with the accent. Graveyard dead.
Okay, and what are your names? Every one of you, what are your names?
Miss Allen, I'll be happy to get you all of their names as soon as they're finished.
It's so Winnie the Pooh. Did you hear his voice just there?
It's that everyone is like at 10, and he's just like, "Oh, guys, just fucking calm down."
It's absolutely a violation of the law.
What resistance?
You let him go.
Miss Allen.
You have instructed these officers to assault him. Let him go.
As soon as they're done, I'll get you all of their...
You are assaulting him. This is assault and battery.
This is involuntary servitude.
Let him go. He has done nothing wrong. He was sitting here.
He's bringing up the 13th Amendment.
Yeah, because of involuntary servitude, and he's gonna go to the dungeon with Chili, and that's apparently against the Constitution.
You're not going to be put on a plantation to pick cotton. Calm down.
Yeah, you're not going to be over there breaking rocks like in North Korea, sentenced to hard labor.
Yeah,
until like you're going to go to jail for a few days until you come to your senses, and they're going to be like, "All right, Chase Allen, have a good day, bye."
I would assume with Winnie the Pooh as the judge, he probably would have just been in a holding cell for 30 minutes while this hearing happened and then been let out.
The moment it's over, be like, "All right, Chase Allen, you've calmed down enough.
Yeah,
go with your mother. Go home."
Yeah, exactly.
He said nothing to you. He did not disrupt anything. The disruption was caused by these 4 officers right here. Let him go. Let him go!
The officers weren't yelling during the trial. He was.
Yeah.
Tell me what to do.
Like-
You need to let him go right now.
Is there anything I can do to seek your compliance?
I am not complying. Let him go!
Is Eeyore the bailiff?
I think Piglet is actually. I'm pretty sure it's Piglet because he seems
Florida
pretty
Jim-
calm too.
Florida Jim, I just released that video on that incident at like 11 o'clock this morning.
And it's in my tabs to cover on Crimeland next week too.
Yeah, you'll probably see it here as well.
Yeah.
We've been overlapping as of late.
Yeah, we have been.
You don't have a warrant. You don't have probable cause.
I can imagine he's just face down on the ground saying all of this.
Yeah, well, you can hear it's kind of muffled. I'm assuming his face is like in this carpet right here or something, like just shoved into it.
40-year-old carpet, and he's just licking it.
Yeah.
Let him go right now. You take those cuffs off of him.
Miss Allen, you're not supposed to have your cell phone on in the courtroom. Please turn it off.
Says who?
800 West South State Street, Davis County Justice Court. Someone's being assaulted.
She's calling 911, by the way, right now because she's all against the cops until she needs the cops. Literally,
that's how
there's
it always
cops
goes.
arresting her son, and she's calling 911
They are
inside a
so-
courtroom.
They're anti the blue until they need them, and then they're the first person to be like 911. I'm being assaulted by. Oh wait, the police are illegally arresting my son. Disregard.
And what happens here? I watched this listened to it. I guess there's not a video, but a couple of times, and she calls 911, and then the bailiff or one of the officers says, "You need to hang up the phone. That's improper use of 911. You're going to get charged with that." She doesn't, and he ends up calling 911, saying, "Hey, are you on the phone with somebody who's in the courtroom right now? You can disregard that." So that's how this plays out.
Yes, you need to call 9. You need to direct them in here right now. My rights are being violated. They're saying assault and battery. I'm being assaulted. I'm being assaulted. Please, you need to send help right now.
You were committing a crime.
Diane Allen.
You were committing a crime. Hang up the phone.
The one committing the crime is you. This is assault. This is battery.
Great comeback.
I need help.
I know you are, but what am I?
Davis County Justice Court, and I'm being assaulted. My son has been assaulted. I need help.
She does that. She got one thing right. She does need help.
It's, ma'am, who is he being assaulted by? Well, they're arresting him for contempt of court and resisting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Have a good day. Bye.
No, they're taking him in the back room where I cannot see him
You
any
guys on the
longer.
phone with someone from the courts right now?
They have been placing their hands on me, forcing me to do things I don't want to do.
Like that sounds like she's being sexually assaulted. The way she phrased that, doesn't it?
Again, a video would have painted a very clear picture of what's happening. More than likely, she's simply just standing there.
Yeah, and I assume maybe one of the officers like put his hand on her arm to hold her back, like from like that. That's probably all that happened here.
My son, for something, he was sitting peacefully in the courtroom. I need help right now. He's done nothing wrong. I need help sent right now.
Yeah, that's me in the
Thank you.
background. It's not an emergency. You can
It
disconnect.
is an emergency. Do not disconnect that call. It is an
And if you
emergency.
noticed, Winnie the Pooh seems to have gone for honey.
Yeah.
With no
He's
call.
not even talking anymore.
Miss Allen, please
He's
hang
back.
up your phone.
I will not.
Please
You're
hang up
committing-
your phone.
You all here have been participating in crimes against both of us without cause.
You guys disconnected.
Do not hang up this call. I need help sent right now.
You're
These
gonna
people are
disconnect.
violating
We're
my
doing
rights.
it now.
They're violating my son right. I need help.
Miss Allen, I'm going to ask you to please hang
Yes.
up your cell phone.
I'm listening to you. I'd like to stay on the phone with you until they arrive. Thank you.
I'm gonna give you warning right now. Hang up and follow the judge's directions, or I'm gonna take you into custody.
I
and
will
hang up the
leave,
phone.
but I am not going to participate in these.
Turn the phone off right here.
No, I'm staying on the
This is
phone with these
myself who
officers.
responded.
All of these court officials are so calm, just so calm. Like even the guy who's telling you to hang up is just like so much patience, more than I have.
I've seen people call 911 while being arrested. And they're just like, yeah, F your phone. See ya. You're under arrest.
Yeah, they didn't do that at all.
They took the time to call and be like, yeah, that's me talking in the background. You can disregard.
Yeah.
I've used my phone as a prop a lot today.
Because you are the one violating my rights. Under Title 8, Section 912, 913. Then you need to let me pass. This is wholly improper. Every one of you. No, sir. You don't get to control me. You don't get to tell me what to do. You violated my rights. You violated his rights, and this is a huge problem.
Miss Allen.
I need to be able to press charges and file a report.
Miss Allen, will you please hang up your phone so we can proceed with your trial?
We can't proceed. There is no trial.
We can proceed.
No, we cannot.
It's not up to you, lady.
Oh, Parsons, yeah. Who's 911 going to send? More crooked cops? If they sent cops, they're going to see the bailiffs dogpiling someone and jump right on top.
Yeah.
Like,
You are sworn officers of the law. You've sworn an oath to the Constitution. You've sworn oaths of office. Every one of you are violating my rights. You're violating my son's rights. And I need.
You're not going
Miss
to dial
Allen?
911 again. That's causing a public safety issue for something that's not an emergency.
It is an emergency
Miss
because you are
Allen.
assaulting me right now. You are assaulting me, and it is a public safety issue
Miss-
because you are
They're
assaulting me.
short-staffed in there, and you.
It has nothing to do with them. Let me go.
Okay. Now I'm going to let go.
Take your hand
You
off
either
of me.
sit down and listen to the judge.
I will be leaving, and you will not stop me.
You want me to stop you?
If she wants to leave, she can leave.
Thanks, Winnie the Pooh.
Make sure she has her phone, Deputy King.
This judge is way too nice. So Miss Allen leaves. That's how this ends. And then they go on with the trial for the 2 traffic tickets. She gets found guilty in absentia, which means she's not there, and gets fined $100, 100 whole dollars.
that's what I can't understand. You, for lack of a better term, ended your son's life
Mm-hmm.
over a driver's license and a license plate, which combined cost like what, $70?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what your son's life was worth to her.
It's insane to me. So Waffle Salter just sent me something on Twitter. By the way, you can follow me at Twitter at It's KDZ. That's It's KDZ on Twitter. I don't know what happened to KDZ and Katie.Z and Katie Z Ma'am and Katie Ma'am Z. I don't know whose accounts those were, but they don't exist anymore. So now it's at It's KDZ. So let me share this. Let me share this picture he just sent me in the DMs.
Even that picture.
Like, what? Yeah. Also,
Sorry,
like
bother me.
this, whoever wrote his name on here, like messed it up and didn't start over. I don't know what's going on with the letter
They
A.
used a grease pen,
I don't know.
and they're like, "Oh, it's left over 2x4. Let's just make it work."
Yeah.
But then, whoever ended up drawing it, their parents were cousins, and they didn't know the capital A was supposed to be a lowercase a because it's a corporate fiction after all.
Exactly.
Chase Allen's really not that 2x4.
Exactly. Let me get my notes back in front of me. I was having too much fun in that trial. So yeah, it was a total of $100 in fines that she would. All of that, her sons went to jail. Is even more brainwashed now because of this and Winnie the Pooh and the way it was handled and all of that. But good news, they did a thorough investigation, and all 5 officers who were on that traffic stop were found no liability in this case.
I love the wording of this at the bottom there, noting no reasonable possibility of conviction.
Yeah. Prosecutors have declined to file any charges against the 5 Farmington police officers who shot and killed Chase Allen after he refused to follow police orders on March 1st. After reviewing all evidence, Davis County Attorney Troy Rawlings cleared Sergeant Taylor Johnson and officers Eric, not saying that last name, Justin Bouchier, Kyle Carey and Harrison Chen, noting no reasonable possibility of conviction, meaning that anybody who watches the video will find them innocent because dude pulled a gun on them.
Yeah, and you notice how even then they seem to have left that part out of the top.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you gotta. I haven't read this article yet, but I'm assuming you are going to have to get like at least 4 or 5 paragraphs in to get to that.
Yeah, I would have been peppering it everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. Farmington Police Chief Eric Johnson released Rawlings' decision today, which was originally filed on July 28th. According to the letter, Boucher lawfully stopped Allen, who was driving with a false license plate. Allen, who also failed to follow lawful commands from Boucher to provide documents. He further refused to step out of the car, indicating by word, deed, and demeanor that he would not comply. Allen then attempted to pull a loaded firearm on officers, actually getting it free from its holster before the officers opened fire. So yeah, that's like 5 paragraphs in. The evidence is persuasive, stated Rawlings. Decision not to prosecute. There's no reasonable probability of prosecution. The officers had a reasonable, articulate and objectively verifiable belief that the use of deadly force was necessary to prevent the death or serious bodily injury to themselves or others. In the county attorney's decision, he noted the public's interest in the shooting, and which shouldn't make a difference one way or the other, by the way. The public's interest in whatever you're investigating should make no bearing on the way you investigate it. It should be the same every time, I believe. Sorry, I lost my place now. Okay, he noted the public's interest in the shooting and also said his office had received aggressive input from persons concerned about the case. What does aggressive?
I wonder who who he's talking about. Like,
yeah.
Is it sovereign citizens by chance?
Yeah, exactly. And here's his quote. While the loss of human life is devastating, the law does not require law enforcement or anyone to wait until a firearm in the control of and in the process of being deployed by another is actually fired before responding. In short, the law does not require a person getting shot or even shot at before returning fire. The justification defense requires actually outlined in the law sanctioning when a law enforcement officer can use deadly force were clearly present in this case. So yeah, all the officers were cleared. That's good news. And I guess that's it. Let me see the rest of my notes. That's it. That's the end of the notes. So, do you want to recap anything we went over today, or do you have anything else to?
Let me sit here and think if I missed anything. There's just so much that I wanted to talk about because it was so fresh in my mind because I covered what I covered this morning.
Yeah.
It's literally like the guy who I covered this morning
Mm-hmm.
had maybe that much more time than Chase Allen, and he ended up shooting 2 sheriff deputies.
And we don't have the body cam of that yet, do we?
No, I wouldn't think so. It's probably going to be
at least
a week or 2. Yeah.
Well, the Polk County in Florida gets stuff.
You're not wrong. He's probably going to do a news conference and be like, "This is what happened."
He's going to pull out the picture of the guy and stick it right on his. He pulls it out very dramatically and puts it on his podium. Yeah, that'll be another interesting case to follow. And I think it'll be interesting to follow it as it happens. This one, I obviously did not follow as it happened because I didn't know about it at the time. But it will be definitely interesting.
The one thing for the more recent case that I'm interested in is out of the 6 deputies that were there, 2 of them were like FTO officers.
Oh.
And they were going to pass in like a week.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the fact that there was 4 actual deputies and 2 training deputies. And I'm curious if they actually fired any shots or anything happened with them. Because that's just like the oddest situation to find yourself in.
Yeah, it was like their first, like you're not even fully sworn in yet. And you're in the middle of a sovereign citizen or Moorish American shooting.
And you're eventually going to make the news.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going to know who you are. And it's just like, I'm not even qualified to do this by myself yet.
They might withhold those trainees' names. I guess we'll find out. I watched some of Polk County Sheriff Judd's press conference, but I did not watch the whole thing. So I don't know if he released the names of the officers yet, but several of them got injured. 4 of them got injured, right?
2 of them. One of them got, I believe it was one shot to the arm that went into his chest. He's in critical but stable condition, and the other one got shot 4 times in the arm and is in stable condition. Yeah, I can only imagine that his career is probably over.
Yeah.
I think one was like a 26-year veteran, one was like a 12 or 13-year veteran.
Yeah. Well, he'll get an early retirement. He'll get full benefits.
For sure.
So that's good, right? Yeah, anything else?
That was it.
All right. All right. I want to say thank you to everyone who's here. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you're new here. If you like what I do, I'm here every Sunday at 4:30 Eastern, sometimes in between. But definitely for real, every Sunday, 4:30 Eastern, we'll be here talking about something. So stop on by. We have a great live chat, and I'd love to have you here. And to my regulars that are out there next week, Sunday, 4:30, and for the new people too, I guess, I'm doing a Crime Land episode, which is just a bunch of little cases like that I don't even really watch ahead of time. I live react to, and I do those in between big cases, so I have time to research the big cases. So coming up in a couple weeks, we're going to cover Samuel Little, who's a serial killer that I barely ever heard of.
Yeah, I haven't ever heard of him.
Yeah, and he killed like a whole lot of people. And I'm actually having North Georgia Audit. When he was on my channel a couple of weeks ago, he told me he's like really into true crime. And I'm like, oh, why don't you come on and cover something that's not about auditors and like cover a case? And he suggested this case, and I started looking into it. It's very interesting. So y'all come back for that. He seems like a good guy. I call him an auditor and not a frauditor because he's had a couple of confrontations with police, but he doesn't go out and do this for a living, and I don't know. He seems like a good guy to me. It's hard. I don't like to pick teams, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. It turns out if you don't pick teams, you're apparently on everyone's team and not on anyone's team at the same time.
Yeah. Well, he just seems like a reasonable guy, and he knows that I disagree with some of his tactics, and he disagrees with some of what I think, but we can have a conversation and talk about it. So
because you're adults.
Most of my friends, I don't agree with. Like seriously, there's nobody on the planet that I agree with 100% about everything. Like not even Mr. Zed. I don't agree with him on everything. So I can be friends with people I disagree with. It's fine. So yeah, that's it. KFARR's links are in the chat, by the way. Follow him on Rumble and 2 YouTube channels.
Everywhere.
I think I put. Yeah, he's everywhere. So, and you live stream and put out videos every day. Well, you don't live stream every day, but you put out videos every day.
I try my best.
And you live stream a couple of times a week. So definitely check. And I'm usually hanging out in his chat. So
she'll be there.
Catch me there. Thanks for coming, everyone. We will see you next Sunday at 4:30. Let's see if I can get my outro to play. There it is. Bye, guys.
Bye.
I can't understand what you're saying. We're late stage in the catacombs. Shuffling a single card today. Broken table trying to play some ping pong. It's not subtle when we celebrate a magazine with the pages torn. My body cracks, knees buckling. I got a bad case of brain fog. Said I got a bad case of brain fog. So I'ma take my butt home. a mockingbird can't